What's up, bro? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm
Dude.
globe, like sitting in front of our laptops, our computers,
Yeah,
hiding in our bedrooms, trying to
yeah,
be human while we all just grapple with the craziness.
yeah, bro. It's really a unique time, and like it's a unique time in history. I was thinking about that. Like we're always gonna tell our children, or like when my son comes, he's gonna be born soon. I just told everybody the gender. But whenever he's gonna be coming in May, and it's like we'll always be able to know the year that he was born because of what we're living in right now.
Yeah, well, and what a strange part of his history will be. Oh my, this truly is a mark
Yeah,
in history. But hey, one of the best things about the silver lining has been just connected with friends, and so
yeah.
good to see your bright face and energy and all the cool stuff you're sharing. You've got music coming out, right? New music coming out right
Yeah,
now.
man, we just released a new single, man. We'll talk a little bit about that, but we have literally so many of your friends here joining, man. And so it's cool to see all the people. We have people from Japan, Brazil, and I have a lot of people who support me from Africa. So wherever you're from, go ahead and drop it in the comments real quick. I'm super excited, man. Thank you so much for saying yes, man, to coming on here and just chatting with me for a little bit, bro.
Dude, it's my pleasure. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna quick shout out. I'm gonna make you blush, which is to say that Tulsa has, I know, great group of music talent, but seeing you perform and seeing the energy you have as an artist,
yeah.
since we connected, I'm just so blown away by you, and I think I
Thank
want
you.
anybody that is interested in music. I mean, it's cool. You're in Nashville now, but you're a Tulsa guy, and we've been,
100%.
Tulsa love. So this is, there's that 2 degrees, 3 degrees of Tulsa. Forget Florida.
Yeah.
Tulsa's like
Yeah.
weird, but
And
huge talent, love what you do, and
thank
any
you, man.
my side, that is just getting to know about Brian, you should definitely check his stuff out. And it's not just music, but the heart you have that you can see come
Yeah.
through work.
Thank you, man. Man, thank you. I truly appreciate that so much, man. So, man, let's just jump right into this. I just want you to talk a little bit about your music career. You've literally had a music career that's spanned close to 3 decades, man. I was looking up just the history, but not only have you been around for 3 decades, you've been successful for 3 decades. There's a very big difference, and it's been absolutely amazing, man. So I just really want you to talk a little bit about Hanson and talk a little bit about how Hanson started and just the history and the evolution through the years of the band.
Well, I mean, for one, I think the first mark of success, and have we been successful for that whole time? No, we have not been, but we have been doing it since I was 9. Uh, but I think the first mark of success, I mean, you could say you've been successful the minute you're doing something you love. And
Yeah,
you wanted to talk about finding a life that you love, which I think, great song, great message. Uh, I have been able to, I can say that for sure. I
yeah,
have to live a life giving a ton to things that I love. And so that is success,
yeah,
especially when really the way it started for me was, I mean, of course, growing up in church, growing up singing and having, creative people around, very creative family.
yeah,
But nobody was a career artist. Like my mom would say she's an incredible singer, but
yeah,
she just didn't care about the rat race. She didn't want to be in it. She wanted to have a family. She wanted to raise kids out of, you know, doing that, had a heart for music. Always, everywhere she was, she would be singing. And so she ended up having 7 kids, and their project was always their family, both of my parents.
yeah,
But we heard rock and roll, and I don't think anybody, in soul music. I mean, really, like
yeah.
like singers, like real, like Otis Redding, Aretha Franklin,
Those are your inspirations.
dude, Stevie Wonder,
Wow.
Ray Charles, and just, I mean, he's Michael Jackson. I mean, and then on to so many great songwriters and singers. And when I was 9 years old, I remember we're there performing our first time. We did a festival in Tulsa. It's called Mayfest, still goes, still art.
Yeah.
And it was a community stage, and it was, nothing glamorous. But for us, like, to stand in front of a crowd, even 100 of people that were all basically friends and family, essentially. I just feel like from that moment on, I just could see how powerful being confident in something and doing it with conviction, how that draws good things out of other people.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
That's so good.
Right. When you see somebody do, a lot of times people stop doing something that they love or even afraid of being maybe successful because they're bashful or like, oh man, I don't want people to think that I think too much of myself, or they're shy about it. It's like, no, when you do something great and you do something that radiates out of you, you don't know how that's going to hit somebody else.
Yeah, that's so true.
Somebody else goes, man, that got me excited. And so, not to say that, that we did that for a bunch of people, but I just remember standing on stage and looking out and feeling like that was where I was supposed to be.
Wow.
And basically we just, we were too young when we started to do gigs at bars. So we just played everywhere else. We played at, block parties and arts fairs. And we literally would sing at like a Pizza Hut line and get free pizza.
Yeah.
We would good. And
in three-part harmony.
Yeah, yes. But I would say I can speak for me individually. I know that. A sense that you are not necessarily called to do something great, but you are called to do the best with what you have.
Yeah, that's so good.
So that's always been it, and so you can go through the chronology of everything that's happened. We were, we made indie records locally. We tried to build a fan base before the internet, before anybody, licking stamps.
Yeah.
And
then, what did that look like for you? Explain that a little bit. Talk to us about it.
Well, so I don't know if there's any musicians here, but
if you're a musician, comment.
Yeah, so if you're a musician, comment. So one of the cool things about being a musician, or that maybe both challenging and important, is there's lots of different artists, but musicians, like, you have to learn to build an audience. That's part of what it is to be a musician. I don't know what painters stopped getting that lesson and musicians got it. But
that's so good.
In front of crowds, you build an audience. It's of the moment thing. So we basically started by playing anywhere somebody would let 3 kids, sing. And block parties and church gatherings and, potlucks and just anything where there was a crowd, and both, you had a combination of my parents were not stage parents at all. They were almost inverse, but they were also, and so my mom's very like, go get them. Like, don't ever say something to her that you don't want her to do like 3 seconds later, because we should call the president. Let's do that. And and then my dad is essentially like work ethic, just extremely diligent. And so you put it together, and essentially whenever we had energy or people responded, we would just do the next thing. And, I think one of the biggest moments we did, he was like a big, we sang a cappella originally, and it was a church, but it was all, I think it was Church of Christ. And so there was no singing, it was just singing. And the 3 of us up and sang a couple songs we wrote, and we got a standing ovation. And of course, 3 little kids in their sweaters,
looking cute.
It was like, of course, I got a standing ovation. Whether it was good or not, it was perceived like, wow, this can happen. And so you have these moments, and then you go to a school assembly, and all of a sudden you get 1,000 kids that look at you, and they start freaking. You saw these little pockets of early times. Or we had a friend, there's a bar owner that it used to be called the Blue Rose. It was a staple in Tulsa for years. It's now have a different name, but we couldn't play, inside, so we played outside by the dumpster.
Wow! Literally. Wow!
So anyway, all those things amassed to we just chipped away, and by 2 years in, by the time I was 11 or 12, we had. We'd have a little mailing list. People would sign their name down, and we had people we would we'd put together a mailing, go to Kinko's, use, lawn money, like the 150 or $200 we got in the last, thing. And we had a, little following, like but it was just, again, it wasn't glamorous at all. It was just gig by gig, I mean, it was, and, really nothing's changed. I mean, in a way, like, it's not really rocket science. It's like, if you have something that you're proud of and you do, you put it out and then you hope people receive it.
That's 100%. That's exactly right. I think the funny thing about this whole journey about being a musician that I've learned is a lot of the things that you thought were glamorous aren't really glamorous. Like when you actually peel back the curtain and when you actually look at the work that goes into releasing a song, releasing an album, touring, doing all these things, it's really unglamorous. But when you love it, you love it. And it's something that you take pleasure in doing. And so, man, I just love hearing you say that. And I know when we first met, and we had conversations, like we hung out one time. I think we hung out at the studio. You guys were recording, but we got to talk a little bit. And you were telling me about how you just started building a fan base and you were grateful for every person who would listen to your music. And I really took that to heart because, it's easy when it's easy when you compare yourself to somebody else who has a bigger audience to take for granted the audience that you currently have. And so therefore you're constantly living a life where you're just waiting for a big number and not embracing the 3,000 fans who love you, which is a lot of people.
Oh, well, and also, I mean, you get what you replicate, what you invest in, you get that in multiples as you build it. And if you start with, this is, all I've got is these 4 people, versus, wow, I have 4 people, or I have 4,000 people, then every you get, you're treating, and I say you get, when somebody that joins and decides to be a fan or a follower or feels inspired, you're proud of everybody that wants to join you. And again, that can be kumbaya, but the truth is, it's just the way I would look at it. I've always looked at it is, going back to just doing things you love. It's rare to get to do something you love with your life. It shouldn't be that rare.
It shouldn't be that.
A lot of people feel justifiably like, I've got to do this thing to pay the bills, or I'm rich and I've got 3 kids, and that's my, I love my kids, but I can't do this and these 7 things all at the same time. And so to be able to do something you love and have the time and the resources to, that's worth fighting for. So every person that joins you to help you continue to be that and wake up every day and do something you care about. I don't know what else is worth putting in the time for. So it's not really deep for it if people are with you and you get to do something you care about. And from a point of view of being a fan, I still go back to, this week, I was talking with my friend Aaron. We did a stream like this a few days ago from AWOL Nation. And we were both just talking about what people are experiencing all over the world, which is how, even in the worst of times, art and music is this powerful thread. So it's not hard to be grateful. So, some days it can be, but I guess, but if you step, it's just great to be able to be blessed with spending as much of your time as possible doing something that you care about.
That's so good, man. So, hey, I'm definitely reading the comments. A lot of people are like, they're not reading the comments, but we're reading the comments. And I saw a couple really powerful comments here. One person was like, I started following you when I was 9. I'm 32 now. And that's just a testament to what you have built and what you have done. And another person just thanked you for being who you are. And so, man, that's just so powerful. And a lot of people are asking, who is the interviewer? Who is that guy interviewing Taylor? My name is Brian Nhira, and Taylor has graciously graced this Instagram Live with me. I want to talk to you a little bit, if it's okay, about the single that I just released, and it's called "Life That We Love," man. And I've been asking everybody. I've done a couple of these Instagram lives, and I've asked every person to answer this question for me. What was your first thoughts when you heard the song, when you saw the music video? And again, I'm definitely not fishing for compliments. I really just want to know what people's first reaction to this song and video were.
Well, I mean, for one, I actually love the visuals you have going with the narrative of the working man, and he's headed towards the grind of the. But
Yeah.
my first thought was really the melody, and I mean you've got this killer voice, and I mean, and back to the lyric. I mean, the life that we love. I mean that.
Yeah.
That is a great little. You've got a great progression happening. It gets in your head, and
yeah,
really like the message. I mean, and also nice to see a narrative. I mean, if you're literally talking about, people should go check it out. It's up now, right? Officially.
Yes, it's on my Instagram. A lot of people. My name is Brian Nhira.
Check it out. It's a great.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool, man. I mean, I just want to say this before I move on to my next. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just
can you hear me?
Want to say it's a great message, and it's a message of aspiration. A message of
100%.
Yeah, and so that was going through my mind is both trying to be real because we all have a grind, but I took away the sense of kind of hopefulness. So
and I love when I asked you to talk about what it looks like to live a life that you literally immediately sent me some thoughts that you had. I absolutely loved it. I think that it might be loading real quick. Let me wait for it to load, and then I'll ask him again. Taylor, you there? Taylor will be on in just a second. Thank you all so much for tuning into this with us. I love definitely seeing all the Hanson fans. Taylor and I grew up in the same town. So I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they're from the same city. And so I'm just telling everybody how we grew up in the same city. And so we both grew up in the same city. I always grew up just really looking up to Hanson and looking at everything that they had accomplished and that they had done, and just following their blueprint through the years. I too work with my brother. My brother is my manager, and so it's just so cool having the opportunity to chat with Taylor about all this. Real quick. I think that he tapped out real quick. Give me 1 second, and we'll see if we can get him back in. We'll look to see if we can get Taylor back on. But in the meantime, my music video is called C Dolphin 1479. My music video is called Life That We Love. And you can check it out on my Instagram page. Yes, I'm sure his many kids were crashing the internet. Hello, Irish Green. Hello from Tulsa, Oklahoma. What up? We got a couple questions here. I'm gonna answer these real quick. What music makes you feel? Which is the purpose of your music? I'll answer that question. What is the purpose of my music? Purpose of the music is definitely to inspire people and to make sure that they're living a life that we love. They're living a life that they love. And so if there's any more questions, Sing for us while we are here. Okay, there we go, Taylor. I'll get you back in here real quick. There we go. What up, man? We're back.
So sorry, guys.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. You're good, man. You are good, man.
We're spoiled.
I'll just
with,
jump. I want to
being
jump
able
right
to
into
just
my.
go live across the planet, and
I know.
sometimes
For
the
real.
internet just.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man, I wanna jump right into my next question, man. So for you, what does it look like? What does it mean to live a life that you love? What does it mean for you to live a life that you love, Taylor?
Well, I mean, so specifically to a life that you love. I mean, well, I mean, for one, I think it's so much of it is it's a choice, you know.
Yeah,
For one, I honestly I have a hard time functioning if I'm not creating things, doing things, you know. Kind of joke that great around when I'm stationary, which is a difficult conversation right now, right? So you find ways to be
yeah,
creative, can't be
yeah,
mental. You know, people are in different ways, and you know, I need to be creating, you know, making things, pushing things.
yeah. Same.
So for me, it's
Yeah,
essential.
same.
It's
Yeah,
um, and I don't know. Again, I don't. Broad generalizations are tricky too. I see with boys and girls different, you know, kinds of things that are essential. I know for I feel like, especially for me, it's either I'm either things are getting broken or things are getting made. There's not a lot of middle.
yeah. That's
So
good. Oh my gosh, I love that. Things are
there's
getting
not,
broken or things are getting made.
you know, it's like it's not, you know, when you don't have a positive, you know, channel to put your love and your convictions, it usually ends up being destructive. And so it's so
Yeah,
important moving forward.
yeah,
Um, and so I'd say for me, it's essential to be
yeah,
in a place of doing things that you care about. But I think a life, if you really go back to living a life that you love, that is also a choice. You know, I
yeah,
mean, it goes back to the difference between happiness and joy. You know, I mean,
yeah,
ha- having joy is something much deeper than I'm happy today. You know, it's
yeah,
uh, it's about having a sense of meaning, a sense of something that's bigger within you that spills out. And so
yeah,
so I mean, I think it's important and it's critical to be doing things that you care about and that you love. But also, I think there's a choice that you make that says, hey, regardless of what happens, I I'm going to decide whether I'm blaming others for the life I'm leading, or I'm angry, or I'm, you know, resentful, or I'm depressed. And you get down, people get burdened, people have real issues, but there's so much that goes back to a choice inside
yeah,
that says these are things I can. There's certain things nobody, you know, that nobody can take my choice to handle myself and to care for others around me, and just sort of. So I think both of those things, it's like recognizing that you have your limits. Like you have things you just got to exercise. You know, you have to that would be
yeah,
destructive channeled, but ultimately, you know, you make a choice in you know, to say I'm going to do the best I can with what I have,
yeah.
and so yeah.
That's so good, man. Well, I believe that like part of living a life that you love I believe that part of living a life that you love is living a life of generosity. And, you know, you have pioneered in our home city, Tulsa, Oklahoma, you've pioneered a movement called the Food on the Move. And I'm not sure if it's a food truck. I can't specifically remember all the details, but the movement is ultimately giving fresh food to people who are in need. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And why did you start that? What was the reason behind and the vision behind starting Food on the Move?
And hey, by the way, there's a little delay, so
go ahead.
Apologies. So
no problem.
A couple of things. I mean, one, so I can tell you what it is, and I'll start backwards. So go what it is and what we're doing, and then I'll rewind.
Please do.
But what it is
it's
called a mobile food initiative, and it is a collection of partners that are mobile that can go together to areas within Tulsa. And I mean, it was really seen almost as like, if we can learn how to approach this could be something others could look to, because it's such a challenging issue all over the city. And in many cities across the country, you've got communities with food deserts. And, you know, it's really neighborhoods that have declined, neighborhoods that have lost, you know, are economically challenged. And one of the things that goes first, or I say one of the biggest indications of a real sort of lack of community strength, is grocery stores. Grocery stores are hard to keep up. They have small margins. And
exactly right.
Store in your neighborhood is like not having a kitchen in your house. You know, I mean, you don't having a home. And so we do these monthly, we do these events within food deserts, and we work with partners to create these really great events that are pop-up, where we bring fresh produce. We have food trucks that rotate on a rotating cycle. We have health and food partners. We have, you know, people with other partners that have materials with things people may not know that are accessible to them within lower income areas. But the real thing about it is, it's not about Food on the Move was driven by the idea of bridging gaps, building relationships, and working to transform with our community neighborhoods that have every ability to become thriving and growing and prospering, but have just had hard times, you know. And so it's really about, you know, it's really about putting ourselves out of a job. It's not about in there to, and so the initiative started 6 years ago, and we've done it since 2014. And we work specifically in areas north of, kind of in the North Tulsa community, but really that was only the beginning. It's not really is an area that has had economic challenges over years, but, you know, East Tulsa, West Tulsa, I mean, there's pockets throughout the community that have these challenges, and there's great things happening. We're moving towards the launch of a new project that we'll be sharing more about, teaching and training and working with entrepreneurs to have long-term grocery stores come back. And so there's really exciting and positive things coming. Right now, we're actually responding to the COVID-19 crisis in a different way, because we're so flexible. We have food trucks, we have restaurants. We're actually working to feed a lot more people in a safe way, preparing meals, preparing groceries. And then we're going to be doing drop-offs within target neighborhoods, where we're going straight to the doorstep without interaction, you know, very, conscious of health and safety, and helping make sure families that are trying to stay at home, that are already economically challenged, you know, maybe also have lost a job that was barely making ends meet, you know. And so I think right now, that's, you know, remotely, I'm like doing my phone thing and, you know, talking to our partners in our different groups and trying to keep something going, even when everybody's trying to be safe. If anybody wants to find out about Food on the Move, you can go to Food on the Move. It's really not mine. It's not any one person's. It's built on incredible partnerships, incredible groups. We got a great executive director now, who's Kevin Harper, who's used to be at a New Leaf, which is another great nonprofit in town. Incredible, you know, so many different nonprofits we work with. It only works because it really is like a picture of a community that when you see everybody together working, you're like, wow, this feels like community. So that's what it is. And I mean, I can rewind. It's a long story, but
I want to hear what the vision was. How did this idea come to life? Because I remember we talked about it briefly when we hung out that a year or two ago We talked about it a little bit, but what was the vision? How did that come up, man?
Well, I mean, really, I guess for me, it was part of a conscious decision to be here, to be engaged in our own neighborhood, in our own
Yeah,
city. We um, the things we'd historically been more active in advocating were extreme poverty issues and working with nonprofits within areas of sub-Saharan Africa, and also the other things we'd worked on were usually food focused, or advocating for arts and music. And as we invested more and more being in Tulsa, and saying, like, we're here, we need to be here. Like, we want to be a part of Tulsa if we want to see our cities thrive. And honestly, I just sort of really felt the desire to learn and listen and be able to sort of not be the one standing out front saying follow me, but to grow. And
yeah,
there was a former U.S. ambassador that was teaching in Oklahoma, who was this incredible sort of example of bridging gaps and connecting people and doing things that very few people ever do, overcoming adversity. And his name's Ambassador Perkins. Everybody should go, Google him. He was
yeah,
South Africa, from the U.S. And his example, I thought, was so powerful for Tulsa to learn from and for me to learn from. So basically,
yeah,
just listened to his story, and out of that, basically said to him, we want to be a stronger city. We want to be a stronger community. We want to foster ambassadors. If where would you begin?
yeah.
And we began talking about hunger. And
Wow.
Food on the Move was born because we started then just knocking on doors and saying, okay, where is hunger in our community? What's it?
Yeah,
And hunger issues are like, they're so foundational.
yeah,
Of food and how that affects people's lives. It's so personal. Everybody is impacted. Sort of music and food. I mean, you've got a few things that everybody, if you say, hey, there's music and there's food. I mean, those are things that everybody shows up. Like, I'll be there.
yeah, for real.
Or the lack of food and how that affects people's ability to be, to be a part of society, to thrive. It's hard to be an you don't get great food. It's hard to be an excellent student when you don't get food. So food just has became kind of the bridging point to connect partnerships. And I really, Food on the Move was really more almost looking at food deserts in a creative way of saying, well, how do we connect with people where they are and bridge gaps and work on long-term partnerships to help transform with our neighbors, and recognize this is none of these things are overnight. This is about just getting to the heart of community, and that's where it began, and it's been a total journey every year we've done it.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's so amazing, man. And I think that's the essence of living a life that you love, is that when you live a life that you love, you empower other people to live a life that they love, and you empower other people in the ways that you're empowering them, man, because it's your pursuit of a life that you love that has ultimately birthed this movement that is helping so many people, man. And so I just kudos to you, man. And just keep up the good work, man. And I'm so glad to call you friend. I really am glad to call you friend.
Dude, right on. I humbled to be invited into the conversation. And, we just, again, it's not really about knowing whether what you're going to do is going to make the world tilt on its axis. All you can really do is use it, and
that's exactly right, man. That's exactly right.
You just show up and grateful if what you've done or try and do or aspire to do is on the positive side of the spectrum versus the other, and so right back at you.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much, man. I know you got to get back to the family. Thank you for taking this time, bro.
Absolutely. And good luck.
Yeah.
New little one, man. This is
thank you. I know, man. We're so excited, man. I'll definitely, we'll be in Tulsa. Whenever we're in Tulsa, I'll definitely have to come through and you'll have to meet my little one.
I can't wait, man.
Yeah. All right. See you, Taylor.
Thanks, guys.